This one is an arrangement for solo guitar. So Tico Tico no Fubá by Zequinha de Abreu. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you.
That was amazing. I love it. All right, so now it's time for some announcements. For the first announcement, I want to recognize our very own Marge Long, who recently completed her associate's degree, I believe, in computer science from Metropolitan Community College. So hooray for Marge. There's one other thing. So due to the current events that's been happening around the world, Oasis has crafted like our official response. You could view this on our Facebook page, but I'm going to take the time to go ahead and read this now. This was crafted by our board president, Nikki. The tension and unease of the nation makes us apprehensive. We become anxious when we hear the expressions of anger and dissent. But as a secular community, Kansas City Oasis recognizes these are genuine, valid human emotions. We recognize that what are deemed as acceptable forms of outrage may be coming from a place of privilege. Kansas City Oasis respects and stands by our the BIPOC, Black Indigenous People of Color is what that means, kin as they struggle for justice against police brutality within a systematically racist institution. The continual disappropriate killing and oppression of Black Indigenous people of color in this country by law enforcement is unacceptable. We collectively hope to find salient, long-lasting solutions to continue to break these long-held systems that divide us. Their struggle should be our struggle. We promise to use our platform to uplift the voices of color in our community. We promise to continue to recognize the systematic injustices that Black, Indigenous people of color face in our country. We promise to learn to follow those who have long been ready to lead. Human hands solve human problems. Black Lives Matter. All right, thank you, Nikki, for crafting that. All right, up next we have our community moment by our very own JJ Cantrell. Normally we would take the time to, say 3 things about them, but it's really rough getting a Zoom meeting started this morning and that didn't happen. So we all know JJ, we love him, and here he is. JJ, take it away.
Morning, everybody. Hope you all are well. I was going to talk about a idea in philosophy of religion known as theological non-cognitivism, and I'm also going to include its very related idea of something called atheism. Theological non-cognitism is the idea that when people are talking about God, like the idea of a supreme being, ruler of the universe, like the big picture God, you can't actually express any ideas on the topic that are what philosophers would call truth apt. It's a phrase that means something that lends itself to being true or false. And when we talk about cognitivism, that's just what cognitivism is in every setting. Like you can talk about moral cognitivism, where moral statements are truth apt. Like if you say killing is wrong, you can say that statement is true. And someone who is a moral non-cognitivist, man, that's such a mouthful. A moral non-cognitivist would say you cannot talk about that statement as though it is true or false in the same way that you could say the temperature outside is 75 degrees Fahrenheit. You can still have preferences and you can still make meaningful expressions, but you can't say that those statements are true or false. And when you try to do that, you run into problems. Now, theological cognitivism confines the idea of truth within the bounds of theology. Originally, non-cognitivism was an idea developed to talk about moral values and moral judgments in the first half of the 20th century. Only recently have people begun to do philosophical work trying to couch the idea that you cannot talk about a God using truth statements. A lot of theological non-cognitivists equate the questions of God as very similar to questions of like, what is the difference between a duck? It sounds, just to your ears, it sounds like that's a reasonably phrased semantic question. And what is the difference between a duck? Well, I don't know. But when you actually analyze the content of the question, you realize that you cannot give a true or false statement about that question. What is the difference between a duck? Well, when you answer that, is that a true answer? Like you leave the realm of truth and falsity. So a question like that isn't truth apt. Sometimes you get sentences, like if someone was to say God is a supreme being, it's a semantically equivalent sentence to a moral non-cognitivist as saying the sentence, green ideas always sleep furiously. Again, you have a sentence that feels, because of the way we use language and we interpret things with our brain, that sentence feels like it makes, well, green ideas always do sleep furiously. But the content of the sentence doesn't actually hold a true or false value. The sentence itself doesn't make a lot of sense. Now, sometimes like a lot of theologists, and even there are lots of atheist philosophers talking about the great debate question, that bristle at this idea because it kind of, to some people, it just feels like you're belittling all of their positions and all of their beliefs. Because for a theological non-cognitivist, even someone who's a positive atheist and doesn't believe in God says, well, I believe that statements about God are false. A theological non-cognitivist would say, statements about what? There isn't a true or false world for those statements to exist in. So someone who's making true or false claims about a God and saying all claims about God are false are still making meaningless statements, because statements about gods are not truth apt to a theological non-cognitivist. I'll give a quick rundown example of how a theological non-cognitivist might approach a sentence. This is the stripped down 60-second version of this. As you can imagine, like, work on this topic receives a lot of literary attention from philosophers of religion, both against and for the idea of a God of some form or another. But the example is, if you look at the first entry of dictionary.com's definition of God, it is the one supreme being, the creator and the ruler of the universe. Now, this definition contains some claims. One of the claims inside this definition is that God is a being that is supreme. Is this a claim that can be true? Well, when people claim that a God is a supreme being, they are claiming an entity that has goals and intents and is aware of those intents and does in fact exist. All beings that we know of are dependent upon events in the universe happening, and all beings occur within this framework. There is no description of a being that transcends this universe that exists. How does it think? How does it cause? We don't have any tools to give a true or false value to those statements. And because we can't apply truth or falsity to those aspects, like, you can't say that it's false that a being exists outside of space and time any more easily than you can say that it is true to a theological non-cognitivist. Because we can't give truth or falsity to a fact that we're trying to claim, the statement becomes meaningless to a theological non-cognitivist. So there's no way to apply a truth value. The claim God is a supreme being is not truth apt to someone who identifies as a theological non-cognitivist. Lastly, I'll just note, theological non-cognitivism is very unpopular with most serious philosophers of religion, both atheist and theist alike. Often its objections are bundled with very related views of ichtheism. Ichtheism is the similar view where there may be true or false claims, but because no one has access to those true or false claims, the dialogue is meaningless between people. Now, of course, every theist philosopher of religion is going to disdain the idea of theological non-cognitivism, but some contemporary atheist detractors that are very popular, like Matt Dillahunty, is not a theological non-cognitivist. And for philosophers that are doing serious work in the atheist realm of philosophy of religion, Graham Oppy wrote a small chapter in a book dedicated to why we should reject ichtheism. There are popular advocates in the great debate community, like the late Michael Martin was kind of the spearhead behind the idea of theological non-cognitivism. And for anyone that listens to Emerson Green of the Counter Apologetics podcast, Emerson gives a lot of time to the idea of ichtheism. So that's my short little topic on an issue that's I found very fascinating. And if you have any questions, you can put them in the chat or whatnot. But thank you all very much for listening.
Thank you, JJ. All right, so if my memory serves, the next thing on our agenda is what would normally be a break, but instead is like little breakout rooms. So I think, wait, I'm getting a message from Nikki that says coffee break.
Yes, you were correct. You were correct with the breakout rooms.
All right, take it away.
All right, folks. Time for breakout room roulette.
Hi, everybody.
Hey, JJ.
Thanks for listening to my talk.
I enjoyed your talk. Thank you.
It was a great talk, JJ.
When I started to write the talk, I was a lot more of a theological non-cognitivist than I was after I began to look into it.
That's awesome.
All right, well, I'm gonna I'm gonna start the recording again, and the rest of you, I'm going to mute you if you don't mute yourself.
All right. When the next part of the agenda today is more music. Yay. So it looks like Bráulio is all set up and it's your turn. Go.
Thank you, thank you. So I'm playing more Brazilian music. Yay! I hope you guys like it. And this one is called Graúna by the Brazilian composer João Pernambuco. João Pernambuco, he was a guitarist and he kind of like self-taught guitarist. So his music is often not seen as concert material, but they're so good. So what I do to his music is he composed a lot of like Brazilian popular music, like choros and samba and styles like that. So I try to incorporate some aspect and just add to his composition what I feel would represent better the whole group of the choro. And in this one, I kind of did that. So it's a like lots of tweaks of mine, and people have been very receptive and been asking to for me to give them my arrangement of this so that they can start playing it. So it's pretty cool whenever other people like acknowledge a work and they start playing this type of music that is often not seen as concert material. Thank you. Thank you.
Wonderful. All right. There was something mentioned in chat that I want to plug. It looks like the Dolfingers have turnips that they're giving away to the Longview Lake area, and there's a phone number to call. So, hey, turnips. I've eaten those before. All right. The next thing on the list is our featured speaker presentation by Janey. Let's see. I don't see him, but I bet he's here
I'm
somewhere.
here.
Oh,
I'm here.
good. There, now you're on my screen. Okay, I will be quiet and let you talk.
All right, great. Thank you, everybody. Hello, Kansas City Oasis. My name is Johnny Rizvi. I am like super excited to be here today, and I thank Nikki for asking me to speak today. It's a real pleasure to see all of you. I really wish that we were doing in-person meetings because it's been a while since I've spoken at Kansas City. I believe the last time was like your 3-year anniversary. It was it's been a good minute, and it'd be great to get a chance to hang out with everybody again, and all the friends that I have over there. So I am the secretary of the Oasis Network, and so today I'll be talking to you about the Oasis Network. Many of you are familiar with it, but many of you might not know very much about the network itself. So this is a great opportunity for you to learn about it today. And I'll start first by introducing myself to those of you who haven't had a chance to meet me before. I've been seeing a lot of faces that I know, thankfully, but I'm also happy to see so many faces I haven't seen before yet. So 8 years ago, I was an agnostic, and I was just kind of distancing myself from the Muslim community that had been an important part of my life for a long time. I mean, I basically had 3 groups of friends: friends from the mosque, friends from work, and friends from school. And most of them weren't from work or school. So when I wasn't going to the mosque anymore, because I didn't feel good about just following that path, my relationships with the people there started to suffer. And it's just because they were meeting very, very frequently, and I wasn't with them doing that anymore. And I thought that was normal for secular people. And I heard about a secular group that was meeting on Sunday morning, but I was totally against it because the idea of getting up and going to a gathering on a Sunday morning was something that religious people do. And I was secular, and I was like, I'm not going back to the way religion was. Obviously, I'm here now, so it means that my opinion changed, obviously. And one of the things the Oasis Network is working on is, taking Sunday back. Sunday is not a day for religion. Sunday's a day for a great day for family and community, and whatever you want it to be about. But it doesn't have to be about that, and that communities don't have to be about that. And we're off to a good start so far. One of the things that I liked about Oasis the first time that I went was, and this was, again, Houston Oasis about 8 years ago, is that it was a positive expression of my secular values. I really enjoyed going to other secular groups also. I often found that a lot of in the Houston scene, what was going on was mostly social gatherings and a one-off, like, produced event or something like that. And I felt like every week Oasis was doing something that I thought positively expressed my secularism, and that to me was very good. So I immediately loved it. 3 years after that, I was on the leadership team, and we were sitting around with a bunch of leaders at a wine bar, and we're thinking, we had already spoken with people at Kansas City Oasis, and we were like, we have to create a new entity, something that doesn't currently exist, an entity that would bring together a bunch of other secular groups to form an Oasis network. Well, what is that entity going to do? What's it going to look like? And so I wrote down what eventually became the mission of the Oasis network: to facilitate the establishment and provide support for Oasis communities worldwide. And we filed that paperwork on May 13th, 2015. So we just recently celebrated our 5-year anniversary. So yay, 5 years of the Oasis network. It's incredible how far we've come in that time. So I want to tell you a little bit about the things that we work on the Oasis network. By the way, I'm no longer a board member of the Houston chapter. I actually termed out. We have a maximum of 6 years you can serve on the board of directors, and I maxed that out. So I'm now fully working on Oasis Network projects, and it's a great joy to be able to be dedicated to this. So I want to share with you kind of what we're working on and how we're doing it. So the first thing is we had to establish Oasis. Like, what is it? And what is it that makes something an Oasis? Is it just because you use the logo? Is it just if you use the core values? Do you have to have a certain format? Like, what is it that makes an Oasis, right? So when we drafted something called our chapter agreement, we wanted to make sure that we can make the culture relatively consistent across Oasis chapters. And so our core values are actually our intellectual property. We have them trademarked. So they're the intellectual property of the Oasis Network, as well as the logo, and the code of conduct of the Oasis Network is also the intellectual property. We also have that trademark. So that's basically what a chapter agrees to be an Oasis. And we encourage the format that obviously all chapters are using right now. Most of them are using to a greater degree. Very few deviate from it, but it's not exactly required. We haven't really drilled that down. It just seems to work really well. So when you go to an Oasis at another community, and many of you have actually done this, it feels like an Oasis. The place is different, the people are different, the music might be different. It's kind of jarring to be in a different physical location, but it feels like an Oasis, and you feel like you fit right in. We're very proud of having created this consistency here. You might be wondering what chapters are in the Oasis Network. We actually have 12 right now, 2 that were added this year. I'll get to what we're working on, but really trying to add a bunch of chapters isn't the main focus right now, but we still added 2 this year. We have Houston and Kansas City and Salt Lake City. Those are the three biggest chapters. We also have Wichita, and then 3 more in Utah: Northern Wasatch, Utah Valley, and Cache Valley. Then there's Toronto, Galveston Bay, and then we have an entity called West Hill United, which is from the United Methodist Church of Canada. The United Church of Canada. That's right. And they're a completely secular church, and they joined several years ago, early on, and they're following a very Oasis type of values. And then the 2 newest ones are North Orlando and Oasis Gaming. So and I'll talk a little bit about those here later. So we initially created some consistency between Oasis communities. Then what was really important was, how do we benefit from having an actual network? And a lot of that comes from bringing the leaders of our Oasis communities together. So I'm going to actually do a little screen share here. The last time we had a retreat for our leadership team, it was actually my birthday. So usually I never work on my birthday. I take a day off. I'm like, not happening. It's my day. It's my one day to be entirely selfish. But when I found out that this was the day to have a leadership retreat, and we were going to go to up near Salt Lake City in Utah with all of our leaders, I thought, you know what, that would be a great way to celebrate my birthday. So we went ahead and scheduled it. So I'm going to share with you just a couple of pictures from our last leadership retreat here. And let's take a look. Let's make sure this works. So here we are. This is a, I'm sorry, it's a little bit small here, but this is a picture of me cutting a giant vegan chocolate cake that was made for me with all of these other Oasis leaders here. You might recognize this one back there. And it was a really special day for me to get a chance to share my birthday with everybody from the Oasis Network and the leaders there. So thank you all for making that day super special for me. But I also want to share with you other pictures from that retreat. So we got a chance to go to Salt Lake City And here's us, hanging out at the Mormon temple, all of us secular folks. Um, this guy's in the meeting here right now. So hi there, Clay, and had a good time. And obviously, y'all know Nikki. I actually got a chance to meet Nikki for the first time at this leadership retreat. I was, the first time I met her, we talked about rabbits, because one of the recent things that I was doing was I was watching YouTube videos of people feeding their pets. And one of my favorite ones was someone who feeds this rabbit. And so she was like, oh, I have plenty of videos of me feeding my rabbit. And so I was like, all right, we're going to be friends. Like, I'm going to get to see like rabbits eating. And so it's incredible that when we come together as leaders, we become friends and we get to work together on something that we think is making a meaningful difference. It's really something special. So when leaders come together from the Oasis network, it means that great programming happening in one chapter can cross-pollinate and be able to be used in other chapters. And resources and work that's been done from one chapter benefits the entire Oasis network. It's one of the biggest and most important things the Oasis network does. Actually, it's the most important thing the Oasis network does. It makes that at one chapter getting better means the entire network gets better. And a great example of that is the community groups program. That's exactly how that happened. And now community groups, something that came from Kansas City Oasis, is now being used across all the chapters in the Oasis network and enjoying as much success as you have. So thank you to Kansas City for being such a strong leader in the network and getting so much done here. So I want to move on now. I'm obviously recognizing a lot of people here. It's because we also bring people together for leadership, not just leadership retreats, but like a summit where everyone gets together to talk Oasis shop. And I've met a lot of you at an Oasis summit we've done. And we do vacations. Obviously, we've had 2 cruises. And I've got a chance to meet a lot of you and had a great time hanging out at the cruises that we've been on. We have been planning another event, and Houston is going to be hosting the next summit. So hopefully COVID doesn't mess with those plans too much here. It's supposed to be coming up this next year, but we'll see. But hopefully you guys will get a chance to visit us and hang out with us really soon here. So I want to talk next about, again, our focus hasn't been recently very much on growing a bunch of communities. We need to do that. But we think about what are we offering to a prospective chapter? Why should they join the Oasis network? Obviously, we want to make sure that they get a chance to collaborate with the leadership here and other chapters, but we also want them to be a part of a strong brand. So recently, the Oasis network's been very focused on building a strong, globally recognized brand. And this effort really started in August of 2019 when we developed the first Oasis network, kind of like a commercial. Houston, and this came from Houston Oasis. Houston originally made a video, and this is muted. I'm going to just share this with you in the background while I talk about it. Houston developed a video that we thought was really fantastic, and other chapters wanted to have some marketing materials to be able to use and share on the internet to help their local groups learn about what they were wanting to start in their area. And so this kind of commercial you're seeing in the background was developed. There's music and there's a voiceover explaining what's happening here. And it's meant to introduce people to the Oasis network. And we thought, well, this is a great first step. We didn't have something like this before that went across the Oasis network. So we did with that. And it was very positively and well received. So from there, we said, okay, what should we do next to help build a global brand? And we realized that when people go on the internet and look for us, we really want them to be inspired by what they see. Right now, the website that we have is something that we built on Wix really kind of quickly to put it together to have something out there. And when you go to every single chapter site, they all look a little bit different. Obviously, every chapter has done a great job with the resources that they've had available to them to present what Oasis is efficiently. But we're now ready to take a really big step in a positive direction. So we now have actually hired a professional marketing company. And so I'm very proud to show this to you. So I'm going to share my screen again. And now we're going to look at this company. It's bubblup.net. And this is an award-winning company that represents a lot of entertainment brands. So you might, a lot of entertainers like Jimmy Buffett, John Lennon, Luke Bryan, Kenny Chesney, Def Leppard, Kiss, Aerosmith. But they have, this is a professional marketing company. And obviously you can see that they have excellent capability here. When we go into, they have a section for nonprofits. And this is kind of the section group that we're working with. And I want to get a chance to show you, they have done a lot of great nonprofit work. Take a look, they're building the website here for the 2022 Special Olympics. And obviously you can see this looks phenomenal. They have excellent capability here. And we actually interviewed lots of different organizations to see who would be the best fit for us. Initially, we were thinking everybody's going to want to work with us, but only a few did. So Oasis is going to have one of the best in-class websites for any secular group in the world. And it's going to be launching very soon. We are officially a client of Bubble Up, and they have actually completed the initial build for the Oasis Network site and a site for all chapters that gels together with the overall Oasis network, which will be super easy for our leaders and organizers to update. It's ready. So we're just putting a few policies together for it. We're going to reveal it to our leadership team here very soon, and then very soon we'll launch it as a celebration of 5 years of being part of the network. We are super excited to share it with you. Not only that, we're also very active in going to secular events such as conferences in order to help get the word out about what the Oasis network is. So I'm going to do another really quick share here. And I want to show you the American Atheist convention that we went to. So I am, oh, here we go. I got to hit the share button. There we go. So now you're taking a look and seeing the Oasis network tabling at the American Atheist Convention here. We were, this is in 2019. We were also expected to be there for 2020. Unfortunately, it had to be rescheduled, but we had an incredibly popular booth here. I would say for every 10 people I asked if they'd ever heard of the Oasis network, I'd say 7 people said they had never heard of it, meaning that there's an incredible opportunity here for us to get the word out. Everything that we've accomplished in 5 years has been with very little, very deliberate marketing and getting out there. But now with our marketing being more deliberate, it's incredible the response that we're getting, and we expect to have a lot of success. Now, the last thing I want to talk to you about before I run out of time is the other major marketing push that we're making. It's for a community called Oasis Gaming. And a lot of you might think, well, I don't really play games, so this isn't for me, or it's not necessarily relevant to me. I want to tell you why it's incredibly important to the Oasis network. Number one, gaming is growing astronomically in popularity, especially professional gaming and professional broadcasting and competition. In 2015, the biggest game championship had 36 million viewers, whereas the NBA Finals that year had 25 million viewers. The popularity is skyrocketing. And it is an opportunity for 2 things. One, for the Oasis network to market itself, to get itself out there. Number 2, it's an opportunity for people who play games across Oasis communities to come together and play with each other. Number 3, It's an opportunity for us to express our secularism as a digital group secularly. So we have a YouTube channel. Here comes another quick share from me. I'm going to share my screen and show you some of the content that Oasis Gaming has been making. So let's take a quick look here. All right, there we go. So this is the Oasis Gaming YouTube channel right now, which I really hope that you'll get a chance to subscribe to. It's Oasis Network Gaming. You can subscribe to it here. There's a discussion here about the community you didn't know you wanted. This is another video, one that I made celebrating the first ever openly gay fighting game character. This is one about overlooked people of color in gaming. Oasis Gaming is an opportunity for us as secular people to express our values through our shared joy for gaming. And we really hope that you'll be able to join and subscribe and be able to keep track of the content. And for those of you who play games, we hope that you join us on Discord. On Discord, every single day, Oasins are getting together to play games with each other. So this is a quick look at our Oasis Gaming Discord. Discord, for those of you who don't know, is a platform where people can communicate. It's a communications platform. And take a look here. Whenever you join, you can make a little intro. And here's my intro of myself. You do a little bio of yourself. You share your gamer tags. So if people want to add you as a friend, they can do that here. Kind of things you like to play, an interesting fact about yourself. Kind of the way we introduce ourselves here. And this is a section for multiplayer meetup, where people will talk about what they're playing and get a chance to join and play with each other. So we really hope that you guys will join and play games with us. In addition to that, I heard someone talk about turnips. Well, for those of you who play a game called Animal Crossing, we have a market here where people can talk about the stuff that they're selling on their island. And if you're playing Animal Crossing, come join us on the Discord at Oasis Gaming and come trade your turnips with us and all the other things that people are sharing out there. It's all pretty incredible. For those of you who aren't gamers, I want you to know this is a great way for us to get together and play and have fun and keep the communication going. We're also out there helping people with content creation, how to make videos, how to edit videos, and collaborating with each other in a very positive way. So please seek that out and join us. So I'm kind of near the end of my time. I want to make sure that there's enough time for questions as well. So I want to kind of finish up by saying just a few things. At the Oasis Network, we are super focused on your experience. We genuinely care. When you come to an Oasis gathering, what is your experience like? And then how can we help your leaders do a better job? How can we help things take off their plate so they can focus on developing strong speakers for you, great musicians, how they can just have a great Oasis, like programming, how they can have good programming. We're connecting people across the network so that they can collaborate and work together, and trying to give them as many resources as possible. And all the while, we're going to get better and better and better at doing this. There's a lot of things the Oasis Network's working on, and I'll leave it for Q&A to get to more of those. But I want to also just finally wrap up by saying we're also concerned about handing this off to the next generation of Oasis leaders. And the next generation of Oasis leaders are people who are in a meeting like this. Just like I was 8 years ago. I didn't know this was the community that I needed. And it's such a great feeling. For those of you out there who have that calling for service, you know who you are. You know, you want to help. You want to make a positive contribution. One of the best parts about Oasis to me was it is a positive expression of secularism. And for those of you who want to contribute to that, so that other people like us who don't have an Oasis, who are thinking about it, or might want to launch one, they don't have to be the way I was and be drifting further and further from the group of friends they had from their religious group, or not having a deliberate functionality to be able to get together regularly with their friends. So we want to make sure that at the Oasis Network, when you are a leader here for the whole network, we're giving you something that's easily manageable, something that you can be proud of, and make it a type of service that answers the calling that you have for yourself. Oasis is never going to be defined by its leaders. It's always defined by the people who attend these gatherings. We're incredibly resilient that even a pandemic like this, we're still having our Sunday gathering. It means that Oasis is here to stay. It's here to grow. And it is the Oasis Network's job to do that responsibly. So we thank you for the opportunity to serve you. With that, I thank you for an opportunity to speak, and I'll open it up for questions. I think I was about 25 minutes there.
Oh, that was wonderful. And for the question and answer portion, I'm going to have Nikki take over if she can, and do the directing of who's going to be asking a question when and where.
I think if people would just want to drop those in the chat, if that would be more helpful to you, Will, because I think there are some questions already in the chat, and it just makes for people not having to come off of mute, and then it's chaos.
Yeah, so I can see some of these in here that are going publicly to the chat, so thank you. I have to apologize. Well, I wasn't reading the chat while the talk was happening, so I hope you don't feel like I ignored you. I'm now looking at the chat for the first time here. So these are great questions. So it says, what and where was the last location that you mentioned after North Orlando? It was Oasis Gaming. It was the last one. North Orlando is incredible, y'all. These folks launched during the pandemic. We've been talking to the organizers there for over 2 years, and they just went from 0 to 100. They went from, just kind of watching everybody, from being coming to the leadership retreats, and then all of a sudden they're like, okay, we've set a date. And I'm like, oh, you set a date? That's fantastic. I would love to be there. And obviously we had a great turnout. Hundreds of people tune in to watch their videos and their content, which is so uplifting. And I'm really hoping that they have a successful transition to in-person. They have a great leadership team. We had a meeting with the Oasis Network board with their leadership team. It's good to go. I'm also meeting this week with another potential leadership team. So more chapters are coming. And you guys, this is all with very little deliberate marketing. When this new site launches, I really feel like it's going to be tough to keep up with everything. Okay, is there a particular, this is a lot of questions. So let me just kind of make my way through here. Okay, is there a particular that's growing the fastest? So is a particular community that's growing the fastest? This is a good question. Currently, Oasis Gaming is the fastest growing community. It launched in January, and there are like 30 active people that are daily communicating in the Discord forum, which is pretty astounding. In 5 years, like if you could dream with me for a second, I expect that the biggest gaming events in the world, we will be there. The Oasis Network will be there, advertising its existence, building relationships, getting an opportunity to sponsor events, to have our name and logo in different places. And I'm just super excited about what's possible. I think I'd be really proud to see a professional gamer with an Oasis logo on their jersey. And I'm excited about that. Okay, let's see, another question. Does Oasis still host board game nights on? Yes. So it's not, the Oasis network isn't doing that. Oasis chapters are doing that with their local chapters. So I expect that, I know that Houston is having a trivia night like every couple of weeks. Like it seems like almost every week I'm invited to a trivia night, and I'm horrible at trivia. I am useless. I'm like, whoever has me on the team is losing. So I'm definitely going to be there. All right. Love the mission statement. Thank you so much, everybody. So many nice comments here. Nikki, do you want to see if there's, do you want to give me a question you want me to answer here?
Sorry, I've been scrolling through them.
Thank you for all the participation, everybody. We appreciate it.
My question is, if COVID keeps us from gathering in person, would we maybe consider a virtual summit?
I think so much has changed since COVID, and not all of it has been bad. I mean, I've found an incredible efficiency in using platforms like Zoom, and I don't think that we'll stop doing this, even when we start having in-person meetings again. When we start having in-person meetings again, I think that there will still be stuff that we do via Zoom in order to make it convenient for people to join and be a part of it. So this looks like a fantastic platform to be able to communicate with leadership efficiently. And we actually plan on doing the reveal for the website via Zoom with our Oasis leaders, and then talk about other leadership issues and projects that come up. There's a lot of projects we're working on, y'all. So as we're going to be, and we are thinking big and bold, not like small steps. We want to always redefine things. So Nikki, I'll just say quickly, Oasis has redefined what a secular organization does. We're so different from anything else out there like us. A lot of groups meet monthly. And let's say, for example, if you miss a month and you're there the next month, but one of your friends missed that month, it could be a long time before you got a chance to connect with that person. But when we do things weekly, we get to build these kind of relationships that we have with each other. We're good friends. So that is a great benefit, but there's also challenges that come with that. We are significantly interested in addressing the inherent conflicts of interest when it comes to governance. Right now, a great example is police departments that investigate themselves and always find that they haven't done anything wrong. It's really difficult to take an organization that will investigate itself as seriously. And this isn't really necessarily an Oasis issue. This is a societal issue. It's with government, it's with corporations, it's with all entities. Essentially, if something happens that wasn't as planned, we evaluate it ourselves, but we have a conflict of interest because we're such great friends with each other. So then one of the next bold steps that the Oasis Network will take will be to address, if not significantly reduce or eliminate the conflicts of interest in our governance structures. I've already reached out to attorneys and insurance companies, and the next big step that we take will be a significant one, but we really have to figure out some of the details there. And when more information is available, I'll let you know. But I want you to know, just like we redefined what it's like to be a secular group and a community organization, we can redefine how organizations structure themselves and govern themselves. And we want to just make you, everybody who's here, more and more proud to be a part of a community like this and have a strong brand that you can share and be proud of.
That's wonderful.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, we have one more question from the chat before our time is up. It's from a community member. They would like to know, for the gaming network, are you going to do Twitch streams for your YouTube channel when and if and when it is monitored, money's involved?
Monetized.
Yes. Will the ad revenue money go back to Oasis?
Thank you for asking that. So Oasis Gaming is technically, we originally intended to structure it as its own chapter with a chapter agreement on file and their own leadership board and, functioning the way any other chapter does. But based on the advice of our attorney, we, in order to protect the integrity of the 501c3 status, which could be jeopardized if people say, you're not doing education here, you're not doing what your nonprofit thing is, you're playing games. So, they might cry foul on that. So instead, it's structured as a committee at the Oasis Network. So we call it the Oasis Gaming Committee internally. And this committee obviously the budget is the Oasis Network's annual budget, but for tax purposes, but they have their own bank accounts. So they kind of run their own budget and just give us an annual report. So meaning, yes, we intend for Oasis Gaming to be revenue positive, not be a cost, but be an actual source of revenue. And it kind of leads to an important question, like, how do we make money at the Oasis Network? Like, how do we fund all the things that we're doing? This is a culture thing that we have across Oasis. We never require an Oasis to pay. So no Oasis is required to pay to be a part of the Oasis Network. At the end of this meeting, I expect what they'll do is they'll say to all of you, thanks for being here. Your being here is more important than anything else. For those of you who can, we hope you'll contribute so that we can grow and that we can provide a better experience for you. That's exactly the same thing that we say at the Oasis Network to all of our communities. Thanks for being here. We're glad you're a chapter. Your being here is more important than anything else. For those of you who can, we really appreciate if you'd give financial support to the Oasis Network. We do a suggested donation of annually of about 3 to 5%. And we're really grateful to tell you that Kansas City Oasis gives a monthly donation to the Oasis Network. And we're so grateful for that. And so all those chapters that can, they contribute monthly. We will do the same thing with Oasis Gaming. It's our culture. We never force anything on anybody. We ask and we just have a great culture. We all work together. I believe that the YouTube channel, and we are on Twitch. You can actually go onto the Discord and find the ability to be there. There's also a document that they have that if one of you or someone you know is really great at making videos, making content, streaming, or something like that, they can sign an agreement so that they can do some content for us. And that means, and that way we can, at the Oasis Network and Oasis Gaming, can benefit from it. It's very exciting. Please join the Discord. For those of you who are asking, join the conversation, come play some games with us. And I hope that this can be something that we're proud of, brings money into the network, and to help promote and market and advertise it.
Wonderful. All right. With that, I think the next part of our presentation is going to be Bráulio. We've got one more song on tap. And Johnny, you basically just said the things I was going to say about donating, so you beat me to it.
How did I know?
And Nikki's got information in the chat if you want more information on how to give to us. Let's see. I think I'm done. I think it's been a wonderful Sunday morning. Thank you to JJ and Johnny, and we'll end with the wonderful Brazilian music from Bráulio. Oh, we had a request earlier on to hear a little bit of speaking in your native tongue, I guess Portuguese.
Yeah, I saw that. I was not following the chat as I was playing, but I saw that later.
So if you would, just like describe one of the songs, but in your native tongue.
Ok. A próxima música que eu vou tocar é chamada Trem das 11, que significa o trem das 11 horas da manhã. É um samba muito popular no Brasil. Now I'm going to say in English. Was that enough?
Yeah, wonderful.
Okay. Well, the next song that I'm playing, well, first, thank you very much, everyone. Always a pleasure to play for Kansas City Oasis. I really appreciate everything. And it's really cool to be able to play again, since the pandemic started. So yeah, I hope to see you guys again in the future. And this song is called Trem das 11, which means the 11 p.m. train. This is a very popular samba in Brazil. And in samba, you have, the big samba schools, the big drum section, but you also have a smaller, more intimate session with just a couple percussive instruments. And I made an arrangement of the song where I try to incorporate a little bit of that percussive aspect of our music. And this song, it's, originally for with a singer with a samba band. And the theme of that is, this guy, he's dating this girl and he's explaining to the girl wants him to stay, but he's like, no, my train leaves at 11 p.m. If I miss it, only in the morning, then what am I going to do? And he's also saying that the biggest problem is that his mom doesn't go to sleep until he gets home. So that's why he's giving the excuse why he has to go home. So, Trem das 11. And thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. And I'll see you next time.
That was amazing. I wish you could hear all the applause that we will be generating in person. So I look forward to the days when our meetings are more than virtual. But in the meantime, these virtual meetings, they're pretty good. So it's been my pleasure to be your host today. Can't wait to see you guys again. And thank you to all the participants that attended and our presenters. So yeah, it's been nice. I'll see you guys later.